It's not allowing me to go live.
It is live right there on the side.
Okay. Okay. Great. Great. All right, great, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Thank you guys for being with us today. Good morning, everyone. Um, today is the official live launch of Empower Her narratives rooted in truth, driven by resilience, and led by women. And today we are being joined by Hunya, one of the authors who, one of the powerful authors that has joined and contributed to this wonderful book. This powerful anthology brings together the raw, real, and inspiring voices of women from around the world, women who have turned their pain into purpose and hardship into hope. So let's get ready for today's uh, event as we talk to Hunya about her journey in completing this particular book. So Hunya, would you mind telling us, to start us off? Would you mind introducing yourself, sharing a little bit about your background
Yes.
and what
So, hi,
inspired you? Yeah.
I'm Hanya. So, I go by she, her. So, I'm a content creator and I'm the one who runs Hanya Travels, which is on all social media platforms. I do different projects. I've done virtual open mics, I've done unboxing videos, I do pageants, I do tons of things. So, with me, my chapter is about breaking stereotypes from old, no, old stereotypes of South Asian women. So, pretty much that's what it's about because I think I'm talking about diversity. So there's a lot of diversity in food now, and a lot of because when I remember when I was a kid, there wasn't that many halal options in Ontario. Now there's so many. There's also stereotyped. There's actually you could find South Asian stores in malls now. That wasn't a
Hmm.
thing before. That's what my chapter talks about, and I talk about this one important thing. There's a collective mentality and there's an individual mentality. So the thing is, if you're South Asian, if you're a person back home, you're going to think about collective mentality that everyone makes a decision for you, and that I've seen with my cousins as well. Individual mentality is when you make a decision by yourself. So with me, since I'm brought up here, why sometimes me and my cousins we don't get along is because of the way how we're conditioned, because they're more
Yes.
conditioned towards stereotypical thinking of that everyone makes a decision for them for each and every single thing. I'm brought up in a different way. I make the decisions myself. So that's the difference. So that is more, and that is becoming more of a trend now, where you see more and more people that are coming here. They make decisions by themselves as South Asian. I don't know if there's any like psychoanalysis of this, but I know there's study of that because
Yes.
I'm reading Selman counseling right now as well, right? So that is what I talk about. The empowering her, that we need to think more about that, you make your own decisions. That you shouldn't have like, 10 people make the decision for you.
That's true. That's true. And a lot of the decision, or a lot of the way we think, is primarily because of how we were brought up, the environment that we grew up in, and but that doesn't have to be the case when
Yeah.
we're all grown up, and you continue to think that way. So that's wonderful. If you could describe your journey while writing this particular chapter for this book, what would be and why?
I want to talk about being South Asian. That what do South Asian women deal with? Like, there's a lot of there's a lot of things that come in there because at the end of the day, it's like for a person who's South Asian, there's something that is not the same approach as another person, right?
Mm.
And that could be a job, at work, at home. There's a lot of things that goes in there, and a lot of the things now what we see are coming into places like Canada, USA, and all these things. First, it used to be very minimum, so you don't used to hear that as much, but now all these things they're incorporating it more and more. And strangely, every place in Ontario has a Ridgeway Plaza now. It started from Ridgeway Iron Mills. So it's like a food plaza, and it's like all halal food, and that you see everywhere now. Even Brampton is getting its own kind of plaza like that. So that's surprising.
That's nice, and it shows that the world it is becoming smaller, at the same time becoming more open to
Yeah,
other cultures, and not just concentrated on one specific culture or tradition that they have.
Yeah,
So
it's
that's
becoming more diverse. So I want to talk about that. Like, being South Asian woman growing up in a place like Canada, USA, because I've been to USA a lot growing up, right? So it's like I can talk about it because I've seen it for a very long time because I would go to New York. So the thing is, I can talk like I'm talking about the stereotypes in there. That what was the stereotype then and what is the stereotype now? Because
yep.
there's so many different facilities because of COVID. There's so many different things.
That's nice. That's wonderful. And it's nice that people can read about that, so that people who have the same struggles will also know that I'm not alone in this, that there's somebody else
Yeah,
that's
because there's also
experiencing
like
this.
there's also South Asian counseling now as well. They didn't need to have that before, but it's like that's also a thing too, and they open it up for South Asian women. As someone like myself, like I go to therapy myself. I'll be honest, I go to that because I need that. Sometimes I
Yes.
need to like let it out my problems. So it's like I need to also write it down too. That's why I also love writing. But it's like there's so many different facilities now. It's like that you can just keep talking about it.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I love that. Well, speaking of struggles, so your story touches on some of the very personal and challenging experiences. What was the turning point for you in this journey and through the adversity that you had to go through?
With me, I could say when I started as a content creator, so I'm gonna talk about it later on too at another time. But it's like it was very hard to find diverse places to work with, because I remember that there's a certain limit that you need. There's a certain good standing that you need. There's this, there's that. I didn't know much, so it's like I have a business background at the same time. I have a business community service based background by my like academically education based, but it's like when it comes to finding your first project, I remember how I used to write my reviews, and I slowly got into filming it, and now that it becomes more and more, I actually started with no guidance at all. And believe me, there was a lot of people there who thought that I couldn't go up to where I am now. And now where I am, and I actually mentor immigrant women, which I have mentored in the past, and also now that that these are the facilities. So I like to share my own expertise that what, if you come to Canada, you're not all alone. There's so many facilities. You have to just Google research and do your homework, and most of them are actually on social media. Because I remember for about before I was a blogger, before to where I am now, for almost 10 years there was a lot going on, but I also struggled to find a job, and there wasn't that many. Like, yeah, there was LinkedIn, but
Yes.
the way how I got to where I am, the way how I became to Hanya Travels, it's like it wasn't like that before, and I struggled a lot in there, and it wasn't that easy because no, there's also racial profiling. There's this, that, there's experience. I had just recovered from an accident, and I know how long it took me. So I did a few commission jobs at the same time too, but I only got like 25 cents, and I started to get like after some I actually started to get proper jobs. So
Yeah.
it's like there's a lot of struggle with South Asian women, especially looking for work, because work is not that easy to find.
Yes, that's true. And it all goes for everybody else, but specifically if you're a minority, at some point it becomes a little bit harder. Now, because of this, all through these hardships, how did you find the strength to continue on?
Well, I would say to continue is like I know I have to do something. I'm not gonna sit by myself and not do anything. I gotta do something. So that's pretty much how I got to where I am. I just worked hard. I did cry at least a billion times, I'll be honest with you. I cried a lot too at the same time. But I still worked hard towards my next goal because I know this is what I want to do. This is where I'm gonna go next.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful that you have a goal and you keep pushing through, meeting that particular goal. When was the moment when you realized that you were not just surviving, but you wanted to transform and that you would want to continue transforming?
Well, that's because I figured out that, first of all, yes, I was going through a heartbreak at the same time too. The heartbreak was pretty terrible. It still makes me cry, but I'm like,
Mm,
no, you know what? I'm not going to sit around and not like, get any job or whatever. I'm going to actually do that because I know there's there that I got to make the future myself, right? I got to make sure I am like financially stable. I have a house, I have or apartment. I can take Uber or I can get somewhere. So I had to make that move myself because I'm like, okay, because it's like, in a way, when it comes to my personal life, every time I try, it's like, it's not good. It's not that level. No, it's shorter. No, is it like that? It's not. Like, I spent hours working on some of the things even when I was in my 20s. That time I didn't know I was going to become a content creator. But I remember like going into some couple kind of thing long time ago. And it took me all night to write that, to work on it. And that time I didn't
Mm.
know. That time I didn't know that there was publishing companies like this, or there's actually publishing companies that we could actually go. So I was actually clueless. So like the half the time I spent my years without with the struggles I dealt with in my 20s, I use that and I empower others.
Well, I love that. I love that. Well, be, but all throughout this particular journey, you were sharing stories of vulnerability. You basically be you're sharing stories that might be a little bit more private. What helped you say yes to being open about it in public and sharing your story to everyone?
I was like, okay, so I took a lot of these training sessions in COVID and I figured out there's a lot of women who also share the same story as me. I'm not the only one that's going through it. There'll be
Mm.
probably right next to there'll be probably in there 3 out of 1 that are dealing with the same story. You gotta let that story out. You gotta let your story be heard. So I'm like, you know what? I'm sharing this.
That's wonderful. And thank you for sharing that, because I know a lot of women will actually be, finding strength in reading your story as well. So, how do you define courage in the context of your experience?
Courage, I would say, to be determined and just do what you want to do. So yeah, go for it. That's the thing.
That's
And
great. That's great.
yeah,
Yes.
and pretty much with me, my line is clearly this line actually came up in like the last year because of what I was
Mm.
dealing with. Is it's kind of again it's to do with a personal thing, but again whatever. But I want to. My line is this that I want a Swarovski ring, but I got a Swarovski crown instead. That's pretty much how my story went. Because it's a really long story, but this is where I am right now. I couldn't get the Swarovski ring I wanted. I wanted to get engaged, but instead I ended up getting a Swarovski crown later on. I'm like, okay, this is still better than nothing. I could get something better.
That's true. That's true. Well, what is the main what message do you hope your readers will take away from your chapter?
I would say think about the opportunities that you have and just do your work, do your research. There's so many facilities, there's so many things for South Asian women that people don't know, and you have to
Mhm.
let the story out.
That's great. That's great. That's wonderful. I love that. Well, so in having your readers or fellow contributors share your story, with that deeply resonate or inspired you in return.
I would say just follow Shirai Studio and follow Hanya Travels.
That's
I
great.
have something new coming up, but that's just who I am.
That's true. That's true. And it's very nice that that you've come across this wonderful community, and that we are uh you're now able to share your story and your message to everybody that will have a take on your book. How can people connect with you or follow you through your journey?
Follow Hania Travels on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. You can find me. I'm all the time active on social media. That's what I do. And I'm always working on something.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. And what's next for you after this particular book, Empower Her? Are you working on writing a few more books,
Yeah,
advocacy?
I actually am. So I'm writing an untold story. We're actually going to talk about my journey as of taking medication, actually, because I've been on medication for years. I see a psychiatrist. I want to tell the story. I have Unleash Her Voice coming up in the next year or so, which I'm actually working on. So that is my story of trauma. That is actually a very personal story. And then I have She Wins coming up. I have my solo book coming out. So that the She Wins, that is about being internally bullied. I've been bullied a lot by my own cousins.
Mm.
So that's actually it's a very strange. It's a I don't know how to explain the situation, but it's a very long story. Then I have a solo book coming out about being a food blogger because I want to share that how is it being a food blogger, how you make connections. I'm talking about empowering women, talked about that we not only have musical food bloggers, but we create new food bloggers at the same time too. And yeah, so these are some of the projects that I'm working on.
That's wonderful. Well, there's plenty for us to look forward to. A lot more projects coming up soon. If there's any parting words before we end this session, you have for everybody that's watching right
I would
now, what
say
would
definitely read Empower Her. Besides me, there's I think five, is there seven or is there
seven
10
other?
authors?
Yes.
Yeah, seven authors. They all have amazing stories, incredible stories. So go and listen to them. And thank you.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Hunya, for joining us today. I'm looking forward to having the book release, uh, full on, including the paperback. But for now, Empower Her narratives rooted in truth, driven by resilience, and led by women is just the beginning. The full anthology is now available on Amazon. You can download your copy today and let these incredible journey of strength, courage, and transformation inspire you and even more. Up until next time, thank you so much for joining us today. And
Okay.
thanks, everyone.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank
Bye.
you, and yeah, bye bye.
Bye.